What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Yeah. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghost in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Welcome to the pod, no cap, it's a seance. Whispers in the static, spirits doing dance. Reptiles in suits, yeah, running the lands. MK Ultra made a puppet of your mans. Wendigo hunger, dogman strut, flat woods, eyes glow. Slice through the cut, Bigfoot tagging trees. Marking the trail, weird ones ride, no room for the frail. Talking about trauma, talking that soul. Peeling back layers, we dig in a hole. Sacred geometry, numbers align. Ancestors speak through the veil and the sign. Ayahuasca dreams, third eye lit. Shadow self lurking, we making it spit. No mainstream lies. This the dirt where the weird ones rise from the blood and the hurt. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghosts in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we dig in the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Voices in the woods got chills on the neck. Black-eyed kids at the door, now we check. CIA tapped in, fluoride drip. Project Bluebeam, watch that script. Talking about grief, talking about fear. Talking about why them voices appear. Healing the mind while breaking the chain. Spiritual warfare deep in the brain. We don't run from the strange, we live in the strange. Tattoo the truth and the scars and the pain. Stay weird, the mantra we own in the name. Reality bends, so we bend to the same. From the attic to the swamp, we tracking the freak. Where the veil get thin and the silence speak. We ain't your norm, we off that grid. Weird as the wave, yo, this where we live. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghosts in the attic, yeah, show me.
Hey, this is Rochelle Stratton, and you are listening to Kevin with Where the Weird Ones Are. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. Today's episode is with Chasity Luna Beams. She is a medium and she also has a podcast called Lights at Midnight. This is her third appearance on my show. Her last two appearances was with her co-host Emily, the fine art medium. Amazing artist. She's done some of my designs. Um, and yeah, she also has a YouTube channel, Our Spooky Appalachia or Appalachia, however you choose to fucking say it. They're on YouTube. She does ghost investigations, I believe, with her husband, boyfriend. Sorry, Chastity. I think it's her husband. I think they're married. I'm pretty sure, actually. But yeah, no, Chastity is super intuitive. She's done readings for me. Actually, you could probably find that episode that I'm on for Lights at Midnight, where they both kind of, because both Emily and Chastity are mediums, and they both do a joint reading for me, and it was informative and helpful for me in my journey, I do believe. And so today, we talk a lot about Chastity. Obviously, we get into a little bit about my um, journey to forming a relationship with God. And so I know at this point, this was recorded a little bit ago. At this point, I personally am tired of politics, and I'm tired of just all the bullshit with it because we've become so divided as a country, where you can't be in the middle. You have to be one or the other, or you can't even be on the outside of anything. You have to pick a side, and I'm kind of sick of that fucking rhetoric, to be honest with you, because we are so different in a lot of our upbringings and in a lot of um, the way we experience life. To how can we all just agree on one thing on everything? So if you're tired of hearing about Charlie Kirk, I don't know. There's a little part in here where I do talk about him because what happened to him was kind of like my calling moment. Not that I even really knew who he was fully when it happened, but I just wanted to put that out there for everybody so that you're aware and you're not just like, just fucking why is the fucking everybody's got to talk about this or whatever. I bring it up for a little bit. So I just wanted to make you aware. If it makes you decide not to listen to this episode, that's fine. I don't do this stuff for clicks and views and listeners. I do this I have these conversations because I want to have these conversations. And if you happen to enjoy listening to them and or watching them, then cool. You know, um, I'm not beholden to anybody, and nobody's gonna stop me from having certain people on, or even having speaking my opinion, or having the conversations that I want to have. So, with all that being said, please check out Flavors of the Forest. It's raw garlic dust. They freeze dry it, and dude, it is the most potent garlic powder I have ever had in my life. I put it on everything. Garlic bread, when I make my own garlic bread, all that. I put it on all the meats, my steaks, my chickens, my fucking eggs, all that shit. So go check them out, flavorsforest.com. You can also follow them on Instagram at flavorsforest. Delicious shit. Check it out. Also, my good buddy Johnny Nitro, wildbeautyproducts.com. You can get yourself some whipped tallow moisturizer. I do believe they have chapstick. They have a whole bunch of moisturizers and creams and all that, all organic, real ingredients and stuff like that. So go check them out. They are amazing. I like it. So, um, with all that being said, if you are experiencing any kind of mental distress, here in the United States, please dial 988. They are equipped to help you with any mental distress, any mental needs that you are experiencing. Even if you're not the one that is experiencing it, they'll give you the resources needed to help you help the person that you're trying to help, whether it's a loved one, a friend, or just a random person you met on the street. They are a good resource to have. So I just want to let you know, stay another day because your existence means something. You weren't out of all of the things that have been created, you have been brought into existence, and I think that's a special thing. So, um, so yeah, and I know you don't you doing that is only going to leave a hole behind you, just transferring trauma, and I know you don't want to do that. So stay for yourself, stay for the ones that you love. I know a lot of times it's hard, but you can't have this you can't have the sun without the rain. All right, guys. So let's get into this with Chastity. Awesome conversation. I enjoyed it. I also want to apologize real quick. It was supposed to come out last week on Wednesday. It's coming out on Tuesday now, because I had a hard drive crash and I've had such a hard time trying to recover all my shit so I can do this stuff. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. Where the Weird Ones Go Productions.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you already knew that. So I have a lovely guest. She's returning. This is her third appearance, I think. So she was a part of a duo that I've had on twice now. She's co-host of Lights at Midnight. As many of you know, the other co-host was Emily, the fine art medium, who did a lot of my artwork for my merch and stuff like that. And Chastity is the other half, and she has her own thing going on with Spooky Appalachia, or Appalachia, however you fancy to say it. But yeah, so Chastity, if you don't mind letting the good people know a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Sure. So again, I'm Chasity. I go by Chasity the Luna Beams, Chasity the Luminary Luna Beams. I'm a psychic medium and an astrologer that specializes in the paranormal, spiritual guidance, intuitive development, and pretty much unveiling the paranormal is my specialty. But I have got into teaching and helping people with gifts kind of flourish. I also do ghost hunting now with Our Appalachian Nightmare. That is mine and my fiancé V's channel, where we visit some of the spookiest locations in America, and mainly, most of the time, only in Appalachia, but eventually that probably will change. But yeah, we've been ghost hunting now and investigating since May of 2024. Podcast has been rolling. We're coming up on season 3 soon. So yeah, and then the Luminary Luna Beams is my other channel. If y'all know me, you know I got a lot of things going on, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I love it. I've been watching a lot of your clips. I try and like every time I try and watch your investigations on YouTube and stuff. There's always something happens in the middle of it, and I have to stop watching it, and it's starting to actually kind of irritate me, to be honest with you. But that happens with all of my friends' stuff. Every time I try to consume my friends' stuff, there's always somebody, the kids or somebody, like, hey, pay attention to me here.
Yeah.
So, but I love your clips. There's a lot of them. You get into a lot of the spooky stuff, and it kind of gets really creepy. I think one of the last ones I saw, you were doing a spirit box, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember where you were or what was said, but there was a lot of communication going on. I was like, oh. And I know that you're not very far. You're on the East Coast, same as me, so you're not very far. And I kind of want to do something with you guys eventually at some point, because I want to start doing investigations myself. But so the last time we talked, this wasn't a thing yet. So if you don't mind, take us through that thought process of you deciding to do this, because I think your husband or your boy, is he your husband now?
Same thing.
Fiance. Okay. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because at the time he wasn't really into it, was he? The last time we talked?
No. So yeah.
So what brought him to the dark side?
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you for checking out the content. It means a lot, and stuff happens. They're like hour and 45-minute videos, so I totally get it. So first question to be answered would be, I would say May 9th, the reason I know this is because I can go back and check like when my channel was created. May 9th of 2023. I was laying it, and this sounds crazy, but I'm a psychic. I do get downloads and stuff, prefacing it. I was laying in bed, and I knew I wanted to investigate. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always obviously been in the paranormal for quite a while. And I just didn't know how it was going to be possible because it's super expensive. And I was just, running all this stuff through my head, and I'd laid down to go to bed that night, and I got a message, like it just come to me in my mind. It was like My Appalachian Nightmare. And that name just popped in my head, My Appalachian Nightmare. And I'm like, okay. And Spirit basically said, get the handles, get the tags for it. Whoops. Sorry, it's my doggy Onyx. But basically, I was like, okay. So I start searching to see if there's anybody that's got that name. I went to Gmail, because the first thing you do is you get that Gmail. So they didn't have it. And I'm like, well, So I was like, okay, how about Our Appalachian Nightmare? And I went and got the Gmail for it. It was available. I was like, oh my God, all the handles, everything on socials, everything was there. Like I sat up out of bed like the dead. Okay. And that's when I did it. And that was in 2023. So it's like, I knew I was going to need it, but that was my name. I kept it secret. I didn't even tell I only told like my family. I didn't tell even Emily, my co-host. I kept it secret. I didn't tell nobody, not a soul. until it was about time. I ended up meeting a group of people that invited me on their show, and then they invited me to investigate. And like I already knew that it was going to work out, but it took a whole entire year to unfold. Like I'm big into manifesting, kind of slacked off a little bit here as of late, but I used to do it a lot, like manifest during around the lunar cycles and stuff. Nothing crazy like dancing around the moon naked or anything, just in the journal. Uh, nothing like that. Okay. People that don't know me. But yeah, so I manifested in my journal, and it's like things you want to do. Well, it took a whole year, so a full cycle for it to actually develop. When I met these folks, they invited me on their little show, and met some extended friends that I would call now. And we started investigating. I told them, like, right after, I'm like, look, I didn't even tell them at first because I wanted to keep it a secret. And then I finally like unveiled it once we planned our first investigation. So we just got out there with our cell phones and what we had, very minimal equipment. And our first investigation was Henry River Mill Village. So backing up to V, so he goes by V. And because you might hear, I try not, he doesn't like using his first name. Everybody knows his first name because the spirits will actually say his first name a lot when we're on investigation. So it ticks him off. He's like, that's not my name. So, but it is, but it isn't. So he goes by V. And V, he believed in all the stuff. He's been through supernatural encounters. But when I very first started to kind of transition into my gifts and really embrace them, because they've always been there, I just didn't understand or know, he wasn't too happy on it. He's like, you mess with the dark stuff, it comes after you. Well, the thing is, we were already having, a haunting and things happen like I had to. So the first like few years was hard on us in sense of like, and he was getting back into his Christianity values and really trying to, and got saved and all that. And I respected that, but it was kind of hard. And, we had been best friends 13 years before we ever dated. We were strictly platonic for 13 years prior to dating. And we've been together 10 years this year. So over time, he got used to it. He kind of come out of that era of his life. And I was going to do our Appalachian Nightmare by myself because V has never had an interest of being on camera. Not at all. And he's like, well, I'm going to do this with you because he has some plans with videography, and he's an artist and a musician, so he's going to need all that equipment anyways. And then he just started, going on Amazon and, getting stuff. And we've slowly but surely, I've released about one video a month. And it's been kind of hard because these places, if you go to like the bigger name place, it's expensive. It's very expensive. So, we're just normal people. We don't, we're not well off by any means. I have kids and a family. I'm a normal, just an average American person. Probably even wouldn't even be considered average because this is all I do. But yeah, so somehow we've made it happen on like bare minimum. And I know how it is. It's because it's divinity. It was meant to be. With my support from the followers that we have, and I wouldn't even say just followers, but friends that we have and made in the community, and the support of like, the people that chip in like on Patreon and YouTube. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where it is now. And, it's a good little small group of people that really support us, and we're greatly appreciate that. And so we try to do it once a month. And I edit, so he films and sometimes uploads the footage, and after that, it's all me. And it's a lot because I'm trying to make a production, and I'm doing it all on either a S22 Ultra, a S23 Ultra, and he just got the S25. So we're still rolling with cell phones somehow and making it work. So,
well, I mean, commendment where commendment is due, I guess, like, because that's amazing. Because like I said, like I get to watch a little bit of your guys' stuff here and there, and the sound is phenomenal. The way the shots are too, like the way the spots the angles that you guys decide to take are very cinematic looking a lot of the times, and I think artistically look very good, very for the aesthetic. So obviously he has something going on there if he's wants to do videography.
thank you.
Which is something You're welcome. I mean, that's something that I wanted to study when I was growing up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that because I was a little retarded and decided to get arrested a bunch of times before I graduated. Anyways, um, so I never ended up graduating. But I think, like, I first of all, I enjoy your name. I enjoy your TikToks. Your TikToks are phenomenal. You do a fantastic job there. Like I said, with your clips and stuff. I honestly, it feels like this is something that you're supposed to do to me. Like whatever you want to believe spiritually. Obviously, I think you pretty much know you're a freaking medium, so you know what is there and what isn't there. But like, whatever is setting us on these paths, I feel like has you on a path of, so whatever the purpose is, maybe not clear yet, but obviously I feel like you're there, you're doing this for a reason, and your fiance is obviously talented. And I think the more you guys do this, the more it's going to show. And maybe that's the purpose. Maybe that's, you guys are meant to be on TV or something, like we discussed before before we started recording, which would be dope too. I'd love to see you on TV. Absolutely would love that. Although I don't watch TV, but if you were on TV, I'd watch it.
I appreciate that. You know, honestly, my goal with this is I have like a universe. I had to accept this and it just moves so slow because I'm only one person, and I appreciate that. I mean, let me back up and say this. I appreciate that because the encouragement sometimes is hard, and to keep going and dealing with family life and just life, because life be life, and it's hard to keep going, but like there's a drive there to do it. I've had to put down Luminary Luna Beam's channel for a while because I'm trying to like teach and mentor there of all of the above. And then, our Appalachian Nightmare is just part of that universe of like what I have to offer. Because I probably said this before on your podcast, but I maybe not if you've never asked, potentially, but I've never wanted to be on camera either. It was really hard for me. Like it was so
You
hard
did.
because yeah, it's just, I mean, and whatever comes out of it, I'm totally excited and happy. I mean, that'd be great. And it's just as long as I'm following that purpose, it's definitely, I do feel what you're saying. It's definitely destined, and making that universe to kind of with the same goals in mind. So I have like the 3 E's: education, entertainment, enlightenment. That's my 3 E's. That is my purpose of all this. And it just needs to be told because still, this is probably never going to change. There's still thousands of people having experiences they can't explain. So I have found by, like, I do pre-channeling sessions. I don't put it all in the videos because we're there sometimes for 8 hours, and then the channeling sessions and all that. I kind of put some on Patreon for free because I have you can sign up for Patreon for free. So I put a lot of content there too, just that don't fit on the YouTube channel because the YouTube algorithm, thank you so much, YouTube. We appreciate you. The YouTube algorithm can, like, if you put a video that don't align with what you already do, it just don't go anywhere. Or I don't know if you've experienced that, but so I put all my stuff there, and like for extras. So having that ability to look in, I think I still channel better remotely when I'm in a comfortable space, because on site I can see things and stuff, but it's still nowhere the same. Sorry. Hush, girl.
You're good.
Ain't nobody there. I don't know what she's hearing, probably the neighbors. But there is an advantage to it, and the feelings I get is totally different between sitting in my house and channeling and remote working versus being there. It's totally different. So I'm excited to see what's coming for the universe. My universe of, I don't even know. I need like a uniform name. I don't know why, but hell, it's a lot.
I feel like there's big things coming for you. And I'm not a medium or anything, but I get like feelings every once in a while about people, and you just have like this thing about you. The first time you guys were on, I knew it. Like Emily too. Like Emily has that light in her, and I can feel it through your voice. It's just like the I think the first time you were on, you didn't you weren't on camera, and you were like, I'm not comfortable with being on camera. I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
And then you were talking, but I could hear something in your voice, and I was like, "Are you about to cry?" And you're like, "I'm just really nervous."
Yeah.
And I remember that, and it was weird for me to be able to like feel that, but like I know, like, and I'm not saying that I'm freaking special, but like I feel like there's something special about you, and I don't know what it is, and I can't tell you exactly where it's gonna go from here. Obviously, you being a medium and you being more insightful than I am, you probably have a better idea. But like, I feel like a brightness, like you kind of shine to me, and if that makes sense.
It does, and I appreciate that, and I try to radiate that, and I try to remain as humble as possible, because in this industry and in this spectrum of the spiritual stuff and being on camera, it can really go to people's heads like really quick, and that's where you get a lot of ego, and I try to lead with my heart, and project that out onto everything I do. Even if I'm having a terrible day, I do my best to try to put passion and love and lead with what spirit asked me to do. And when I say spirit, people call it maybe the Holy Spirit, divine. I call it divine spirit. And because you can talk to all kinds of spirits, and they all don't speak the same way. And that's sometimes, when people carry that light, it's almost like an anointment in a way. I feel like I had that put on me when I was 12. It's something I think we did talk about, where I saw Jesus in one of our previous podcasts. I feel like I was put in here with a purpose, even though the Christianity Jesus doesn't align with, they would say it's a different Jesus. I don't know. I'm not trying to get into religion here, just for perspective. I really feel like, something was put on my life, because my life has always been like up and down, up and down. You could make a show sometimes about my life outside of what I do, because of all the crazy stuff that happens. But the things that happen to me, I find in my clients, there will be relatability there. So where I feel like I've lived 3 lifetimes, and there's like relatability there. So I think it has built character within myself, and leading with love and leading with intention, and trying to, do the right thing in a sense with the content and everything. And because my big thing is like, I don't want to over exaggerate how I feel. I don't want to over exaggerate the situation. If we pick up something and it seems paranormal at the time, or I find that it may not be, it can be explainable, I'm not going to continue to push that narrative. I try to remain fairly neutral. Even some things where I think it is paranormal, but I can't prove it, I leave the door open for the audience. My name is Chasity, and that means purity. And they say your name has stuff, and I'm not saying I'm innocent by any means like that, but I try to be pure in the work that I do. So for you to recognize that, and I have been told that by people and clients and stuff, and it's a responsibility. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's
No,
a
it
certain
does.
and trying to do the right thing and get my act together and be a mom and everything else. It's a lot, but I know I'm meant to do it. So thank you, because like I said, that gives us encouragement to continue to go. You're going to swell my fiance's head up, though. I got to let him see this later when it posts. I'm just kidding. He'll appreciate it too, for sure. He'll appreciate it.
Good, because I really do think that he's doing an amazing job. And if names mean something, then Kevin means handsome. So
Hey, whoop,
I'm
whoop,
not trying
whoop,
to
whoop.
say, I mean,
That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, we live by our names. I know
that's true.
I sometimes say my kid's name, but I didn't know at the time. All my kids are elemental names. So my son's name means little fire. My oldest means fall, literally autumn. And then my youngest is Ivy. Everybody has like a elemental name. So he has a little fire.
That's
He
cool.
definitely does.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I will say that I recently came to to Jesus. I wasn't quite there, like I believed, but I didn't at the same time. And I really just, I don't know, it like recent events kind of just, I don't know what was about it, to be honest with you. It just like it felt so, I felt like this vibration, and I felt like somebody in the distance was calling my name. And I'm sorry because I'm about to start crying, and I can feel my eyes getting watery, and I apologize. But like, it just felt like I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like to see what was going on. So I was already starting to believe a little bit with people that came on the show. There's been a lot of Christians on, and a lot of them are like, as long as you don't have to be perfect. That's not how God didn't intend you to be perfect. And it's completely different from like how I was taught that people who were religious would treat you, and they talk to me like I'm a human, like I'm like they don't care who I am. They don't care even if I don't believe in the same things that they believe. They didn't care. They were just there for me, and they have been there for me ever since I've met them. And so my daughter, the day that my daughter was supposed to be the day that my daughter was born, not that she was supposed to be, but regardless, her heart rate kept dropping, right? And it was scaring me. And so I prayed for the first time, and I'm not saying like there's any correlation in between this, but we named her Charlie, right? And this is probably the first time that I'm really saying this publicly, maybe. So we named her Charlie, and that was kind of like the first time I've ever prayed, first time ever, was for her. And then just this last month, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I just I didn't believe in a lot of things that he believed, but I still appreciated him for the person that he was and the things that he was trying to do. You know what I mean? Again, nobody's perfect. I'm sure there's a lot of things that people found in him that they didn't like, but again, there's things about everybody that aren't perfect. So
yeah.
And he admitted a lot of his imperfections and stuff like that. And I just liked what he was doing. And I didn't really care for him at the time. Like, I didn't not that, like, I didn't pay attention to what he was doing. Like, I knew what he was doing, but I didn't really care about it. You know what I mean? So when I heard that he was shot, I was like, what? And I literally pulled my car over, and I searched it, and I witnessed it happen. And like, as I watch it happen, I feel my whole entire body just vibrate.
Wow.
And it was so weird. And then watching videos of him days after and stuff, that's when I started feeling like this calling of my name. And so just this last week, I bought a Bible, and
That's awesome.
I'm starting to learn the word and stuff like that. And it's as much as I wish he was still here, I don't know if I would have made this turn if what happened to him didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, everybody it's a good foundation. And I don't have anything against anybody. I just preface this because I'm a psychic medium, so I get a lot of stuff, not but in general, we get talked about a lot. It specifically says don't associate yourself with spirits. Don't seek out people like me in the Bible. There is a lot
Mm-hmm.
in there, and about that kind of stuff. It's hard, how can I say this? Because the situation with Charlie Kirk, Spirit basically told me this. It was a pivoting point of something that had to happen. It was fated, and it's part of that. I've spoke about this for years. It's part of that dividing path. What we said was light and dark, right? Where we get a separation. People choose a side. There's not necessarily a path that's darker or lighter. It's just a path. And it was a pivoting point, for America. You're not the only person, and even the world, you're not the only person that has told me that they've had some type of physical affliction around the Charlie Kirk issue. I don't want to say the word. I don't know if it'll get flagged. Is that okay if I say, I'm pretty much free to say anything? Or
I think so. I think right now the hot topic is Israel.
Okay, yeah. So I'm trying not to use keywords here, but it's really about that dividing path of choose your side, and it's not. It is spiritual. It's highly spiritual, but it's also to give, I think, us all a perspective on where we stand on our beliefs. Charlie Kirk, he had his set of beliefs. I didn't follow him either. I knew of him. I knew what he did. I wasn't a big follower, but of course, I've kind of kept in tune with what's been going on, and I've seen a lot of negativity and a lot of hate from either the right or the left, or even just people with opinions that don't have, deal with politics or whatever. But I think it's really important. The thing that Spirit said to me was, these are just beliefs. They don't 100% identify. It does identify with who you are, but it doesn't 100% have to rule your life. And now that everybody's feuding over, well, this is bigotry and this is horrible. Well, this is, people believe in it. They put everything in it, even if it's a bad belief. It's all just that. And the country is very divided, and it's sad because, like families are breaking up. It's been happening for a while now and everything, but I think a lot of positive things can come out of this, not because of him and the situation, but what happened after, just like you're talking about. I think it's going to bring a lot of people to their own spirituality and their own choices. It's going to make a lot of people question things. And I'm not saying it's good or bad for the viewer, because I normally don't put my opinion out here about this kind of stuff, because it's just not my jam, right? Of course, everybody has opinions, but I'm not here to shame, or people do what they want to do. Grown folk do what they do, right? But the belief thing, the systems of beliefs is such important thing. That's all it is beliefs. And I really think Spirit's wanting people, and Divine Spirit is wanting people to kind of unite and understand that just because somebody believes differently than you doesn't mean that they're a terrible person. There's a lot of demonization going on, and I wanted to touch on that since you brought it up. But also, it's crazy that you had that happen, and now that you're getting into the word and stuff, because there's a lot of powerful things in there, and now you can make your own decision on what path you want to go. And I'm a firm believer in Jesus. In my personal humble opinion, at 12 I met him. It took me 20 years to really, and I have seen him since then in my visions and stuff, helping people with paranormal activity. You call on him. It's a powerful name. Like, it's just powerful in so many ways. It might not be everybody's, cup of tea, and that's okay. But I cannot deny that there's not power in the name Jesus Christ, or Jesus, or Yeshua. There's power there.
Yeah.
And there's love there too. But there's so many different facets that humans apply to the name Jesus based on their beliefs, when that's not Jesus. He's a whole. He's part of the whole, just like we are, the collective, the consciousness. And that's just my opinion. But
yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. Like, like when I started really feeling this way, I was just like, man, is there something, like, what is wrong with me? I'm hearing a voice. Well, I wasn't actually hearing a voice. I just felt like I was hearing a voice, if that makes any kind of sense.
yeah, it does to me.
So like, yeah, I've talked about this on the podcast a few times, and I apologize if we're going down a path that you weren't really prepared to talk about. But
Okay.
so for a while now, my kids they've been wearing a cross around their neck. They've been talking about Jesus. They've been talking about wanting a Bible, and this has been going on for like a year or so now. And I was just like, oh, that's cool. I feel like that's, like I'm happy you believe that. Like I wasn't really there with them, and now I am. And you know, it was really funny because tonight at dinner we were at a restaurant and my son literally started quoting scripture to me, and
Wow.
it was the weirdest. It was such a weird thing. And then I was just like, I said, well, I go, what chapter and what verse did God say, whom shall I send and who will go for us? And he's like, what? And I go, and then I said, here I am, send me. And I was like, where'd that come from? He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, you haven't read far enough then, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, it's really like my son he talks about Jesus a lot, and he's 16. And this, I didn't force him. I didn't put this in his head. His mother is very, very liberal, which being liberal is not a bad thing. It's just a different belief. And, there was a lot of things that I personally aligned with on the liberal side, on the left side for a long time. And I just don't see it working out. And I love my country. To make to make the distinction, I love the country. I dislike the government. I have conservative beliefs, but I am not Republican, and I despise the government no matter who the fucking president is. So that's where I stand on that front. But I do think that, like you said, I do think that this had to happen, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to put this on like that he was a bad person or anything, but I think there is a storyline, and I do think that we have to kind of sort of follow it as we go through each stage. And I do believe they kind of show us through movies and through music and stuff like that occasionally. Not that everything is on point and exactly the way that it happens, but do you remember the Nicolas Cage movie Snake Eyes?
I don't. I mean, I've heard of it. I can't remember if I've seen it. I retain movie information like trash. I'm really bad at it.
So I think it was like 1998. I remember I was a kid. My dad loved this movie, and it's Nicolas Cage. I think he's an FBI agent or Secret Service or something like that, and he's like undercover. And there's a politician, and his name is Charlie Kirk Land.
Wow.
And so they go to this fight, this boxing match of Tyler, the executioner is his name. So you got Charlie Kirkland, so Charlie Kirk, the politician, and then the executioner Tyler, which is the name of his assassin. So Charlie Kirkland in the movie Snake Eyes is assassinated at this boxing match by the neck.
Wow.
So he's shot in the neck, and it was on September 10th. If you like all the signs at the boxing arena will say September 10th right underneath them.
Huh.
And that was the day that Charlie was shot.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I've seen that happen before. That's not over my head, just mind blown.
Right.
It's crazy.
When I saw that, I was like, damn.
Yeah. It's too much. And they used to teach astrology in university up until, from my knowledge, I could be wrong, until Isaac Newton said it wasn't important like it's just pseudoscience. But I am a firm believer that they use seers like me, remote viewers. We already have proof of all that. And they use
Oh yeah.
astrology. I mean, the memorial for Charlie Kirk was during a solar eclipse. They started,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
That's
they
right.
started that ceremony, or that they started that revival at the solar, like right before it was time for the solar eclipse. So, and they made it last through the whole entire solar eclipse. So that is very intentional. Solar eclipse happens on a new moon. It's a very powerful time for transformation. He was assassinated during the eclipse season. This plays out over the next 6 months. So really what's going to come to a head from all this, whatever was seeded into people, if you took part into watching that and being a part of it, and unknowingly, it can plant intentions within you. Now, I'm gonna cut off the Charlie Kirk thing and just say this, because I don't mean this for this. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just
Hmm.
saying, whatever we invest our time in during these big astrological events, we actually are manifesting too. So if you're manifesting like that get up and fight mentality, whether it's for in disagreement or agreement, that's really going to be the part of the next 6 months of your life. And it just unfolds and unfolds all through into the next year, because lunar cycles move. That's why I do like moonology, because the lunar cycles help like really everyday life roles and stuff. I haven't dipped into the astrology myself, but they knew exactly what they were doing when they had his memorial revival on that Sunday. They were setting a seed of intention. I'll be one to say that there's more that meets the eye, and I'll leave that there to everything happening right now. I have my opinions, but it's something I'll never say publicly. Just leave that there. But I'll leave you with that on that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very intentional.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, it's just so this is the last thing that I'll say about it, because that I didn't really 100% mean to go down this road,
It's
but
okay.
we're here. So
Yeah.
so I also find it interesting that he was born October 14th, 1993, and George Floyd was born October 14th, 1973,
Hmm.
20 years apart. And so I think it's weird that, you know, the left is accusing the right of, I don't know, like mourning too much or whatever, when I get like the circumstances around George Floyd. Don't get me wrong. Um, and they celebrated his life after death, the same way that they're kind of doing with Charlie. But my argument here with this for the left. So anybody watching, this is Kevin, not Chasity. So anybody who's listening that happens to be on the left, my question is, how come you don't do that for everybody? How come it was only for George Floyd? How come his death was the only one that's important? How come his death was so important to you, that you felt like you needed to take a knee for him and to put statues up, when there have been so many George Floyds throughout America? Um, I don't really understand what made him more important than the rest of them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in any kind of like disrespect or anything
Yeah.
like that. I'm just curious why, out of all of them, because he's not the only one that died by the hand of police. So why him? You know,
It's
that's
always
all.
intentional. Everything we see
Yeah.
on the news, it's all intentional, and it's meant to divide us. That's part of the division. Where we moved into the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by the 11th house in astrology, and the 11th house is the internet. It is technology. It is AI. It is aliens. As soon as we moved into this, that's what everything went with. Somebody please convince me that they are not using astrology to make moves. They have astrologers. They can hire really good astrologers, and they have personal advisors. Companies even have personal remote viewers, I have found out. And I've been working on remote viewing and stuff, and maybe even potentially start to teach people about remote viewing. So yeah, they actually hire it. In this class I have, yeah, they talk about companies having remote viewers, and it's
Wow.
there. Yeah, so the
Damn.
supernatural, it's definitely, in my personal opinion, obviously, is very real, and it's very a part of our everyday lives. Whether you subscribe to that idea or not, whether you believe that spirits or whatever exist or not, I mean, this may be arrogant, but I'm here to tell you, just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that's how I like to say when they have their thing that they're doing, and everybody's like, just because, or like, so like well, like Trump has the mural of Tammuz, which is like a child sacrificial god, or whatever. So like I think, and I've said this before, I think Trump might be a Satanist, and if that's the way he wants to roll, that's the way he wants to roll. Anyways,
Yeah.
not again. So I'm like, I'm not on either side. So like I see things and I hold each side accountable. But
Yeah, for
regardless,
sure.
they I think, frick, now I forget my point because I got this so discombobulated with what I was thinking, and
While
I
you're
think way too
thinking
fast.
about it, I have no hate for MAGA. I have no hate for the left. I have my own ideals in between all of it, right? And I see the movement that's happening. But to your point, people talk about this, and I'm not saying that Trump is or isn't, but it is fact that MAGA is the highest known, like, ranking in the satanic church. MAGA.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like weird to me when oh yeah, so when everybody's like, oh well, or he talks about Christianity and blah 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 blah. I was like, yeah, but look at the things that he has around him. He cares a lot about gold. Obviously, we know that from the statues that he has in the Oval Office. We know that he has a mural of Tammuz, which is a pagan god, a child sacrificial god, which is really weird. So all I'm saying is just because you don't believe in those things, or believe in this God, doesn't mean that he doesn't or somebody else doesn't. You know what I mean? And that goes
Absolutely.
to your point. Just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, and that
So
goes for like deities and things because, when you believe in something so heavily, we are creators. We are made in His image, as they say. And if God or the Creator is a creator, like, and makes things, so can we. And I have proved that to myself. I don't need to prove it to anybody else. Your thoughts are so powerful; they radiate into other people. It's just like walking in a room when somebody's pissed off, then it can, like, make you upset. That's one thing, but that's just a visual thing. But with our mind is so much more powerful than they want us to know, like you say, or it's all been lost for whatever reason. If people understood the power they had to actually do things within reason, because, you're talking about a fine line to walk between sane and insane, or like something of the such like that. You can do things with your mind. It lives in your aura. Your thoughts are energy, so they radiate out into your aura, right? Your energy field, which does radiate colors according to some people. And getting to like the spiritual aspect of it, or the spirits. Your dog, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to tits out on you real fast. Let me pause. The dog's got to go out, and I got to
yes,
get my son to
you're
get
good.
him out. Sorry.
Yep, you're good.
He's up above me, so just give me a sec. I'm sorry. She's
You're
sitting here. I
okay.
couldn't
You
hear.
don't have
They
to
all have
apologize.
headphones on. Thanks. Okay. But yeah, so I'll give it a second. She'll be back in a minute. It won't be no big deal when he comes back in. She'll stop crying. What was I saying? Fuck.
I wish I could rewind. You were saying something about
I know, that'd be cool.
fucking A.
Getting old, I'm telling you, I'm getting old.
I'm right here with you.
Hold on.
I forget the question. I forget questions that I'm about to ask. Like, I'll be literally thinking about the question, and I'll go to ask it, and I'll be like, fuck, I forgot.
Yeah, I do that too. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's something. I burned a lot of trees in my 20s, so that might be why.
Same. Well, mine was when I was like 15 and 16. That's when I smoked the most. So
yeah, for sure. Back in the day, the good old days, I guess you could say.
The good old days, yeah, when you had to hide it from the law.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is true. I'm saying more of the vibe. We didn't have the internet like we do now, which is a blessing because, like, people like me and you, we would have never met. But like, there was something, there's something about not having that and growing up the way we did, like on the border or on the cusp of the internet and not the internet. I am honored to be a part of that because my children aren't growing up the same. And like, it doesn't matter what I do. They're homeschooled. They stay, on the computer to do school and stuff. And then, they want a YouTube channel and I have to be like, you're not showing your face until you're a certain age. I don't play around with that kind of stuff. Not with my kids.
Yeah.
And it's just different. It really is. But, I remember now. Going back to the point, and I'll just finish it up really fast. Going back to the point of like, I think I was saying stuff about remote viewers and how they view in and stuff like that. It is a very big part of the government. Yes. And then I went on to say, what was it? I went on to say that like the entities, your aura. So your aura, you're producing thoughts that leaks out into your aura. And when it comes to entities and beings and stuff like that, that is how they actually read your energy, in my personal opinion, and what I've seen. Like if a human can read another human's energy, think about something that's been around for a really long time or that's already in spirit that can actually see your spiritual form or your spiritual being or your light in whatever you're radiating. That's how thought forms are created. So like even if a group of people believe in something with so much belief and intention, they can create it. It's just like in certain practices that involve witchcraft, they actually end up creating, tulpas and stuff of the such thought form type entities that they can go and do their bidding. Even like a familiar or something, familiars can be summoned, but they also can be created. Egregores, that's another thing. And when you have a vast group of people believing in one thing or a principle, it can really force it into reality. And for that Charlie Kirk situation on the Sunday when they had it, that's very intentional to push a narrative. And I'm not saying it's bad or good, they just push what they want out there. And it's not a bad thing to say that either because they believe in it. That's their core values. And I don't believe anyone should be smited down or told they're wrong. We can disagree, we can get along, but some people are really lacking that, and that is that division between black and white. But I refuse to be a part of the black or the white. It's not the light and the dark. I refuse to be a part of the two separate paths. I'm trying to walk straight in the middle and in the gray area, because there's so many more shades of gray than there is black and white. And when you open your mind to others' ideas and possibilities, it doesn't mean you have to subscribe to them, but it does mean that, it's a compassion and a caring, and it's again walking with the heart and in a space of love, and that's so important. The word love has so much more meaning. It's a vast word. You know, it's in it in different contexts, in different forms, in different scenarios. First two things Spirit ever told me was perception is everything. When I started like, okay, I'm focusing, I'm downloading, perception is everything. And colors mean more than you know, which is kind of irrelevant for this conversation. Kind of, we talked about it, but like,
Yeah.
you know, the aura and stuff, like in how we present our colors. And like, I've even seen that, you know, in Spirit, which I may talk about later. But if you ask me some things that's been going on later on, I might divulge a little more into that, with the whole color thing. That's something that happened to me. But yeah, that's my soapbox for that. Or got sidetracked and the dog had to pee pee.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's a good girl though, but damn dog.
I will say that I've seen auras before. There's been like a handful of times, and it felt weird every time. Um, every time, I'm like, eh. But the last thing that I will say about, you know, current events, because I do want to talk about more about your investigations and stuff, with the Charlie Kirk thing. Like I get a lot of why people didn't like him, and I get that. But when I watch videos of him and he's literally arguing with other Christians and people who are actually racist and saying racist things, it makes me feel even weirder, to the point where I'm just like, this is the guy that you wanted to take out? Like,
Yeah.
he's literally saying, advocating for gay, trans, and other ethnicities, but the left didn't see those ones. And I was just like, how am I seeing a different Charlie than you guys are? Like, and again, like, obviously there's still belief system, there's beliefs that he had that I still didn't agree with. But like, he literally told the lady, she goes, "Do you hate gay and trans?" And he's like, "How can I hate something that I have a heart for? Like, just because I disagree with their lifestyle doesn't mean that I don't want what's best for them. Like, I still want them to have a good life, because
Yeah.
they deserve a good life. They were created in the image of God." And he was firm in his beliefs, and he argued with other Christians about homosexuality, because they were at a talk, and there was a speaker, and one of the speakers happened to be gay. And he goes, "Are you upset that one of our speakers is gay?" And the guy goes, "Yes. Aren't you a Christian?" And Charlie goes, "I am a Christian. And you know what? Jesus talked and had dinner with prostitutes and this and that and blah, 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 blah." And he goes, "He had a heart for the people. He
Yeah.
wasn't for only the people that believed in him."
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's the soapbox that I am stepping off of now. And now my question to you,
Well, let me just say that's the key. It's the love for the people, and I'll leave it there too. It's the love for the people,
yeah.
and I've worked with people that I don't agree with certain things that they chose to do with their life, and that's an open book there. You can take that for what it's worth. But like decisions around substances and stuff like that, I still worked with them, even though I didn't have to, because the heart is with the person and the individual and the empathy. Okay, but yes, that's it.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what has been, since you started our spooky, I don't know why I wanted to put a U in there, but our spooky
Spooky.
Appalachia. Since you started that, what has been your favorite investigation thus far?
That's hard to say. Lord. Well, we've done more than this now. But I think we've done 14 or 15 different locations now. It's hard to say. Um, let's see. I got to do Bobby Mackey's, and even though not a ton of stuff
Ooh.
happened, yeah. So there was 2 weeks. We went like 2 weeks before they had their very last like open night, and that was an experience to get to experience a place that was so historic that got torn down. That was a highlight. I really enjoyed St. Albans too. I can't give you a favorite. They're all different. But if I had to choose one place that kind of holds near and dear to my heart, is Madison Dry Goods. For what's there, my life story, like things that's happened to me, where it's located, the people that I know, and the fact that the opportunity to investigate Madison Dry Goods is very hard to get in the door for a multitude of reasons. If people don't know, Madison Dry Goods was featured on 28 Days Haunted on Netflix and made it super popular. And nobody except two teams, and that's, well, if you include the other people I went with, I guess you could say 3 teams technically, but it's same night except for the other team. So Stokes County Paranormal, I've been working with those gals for a couple other places out in Stokes County. They get to go do the walkthrough tours there and investigate occasionally, but we're the only YouTubers that actually have made a video on Madison Dry Goods since it's that I'm aware of. That's an investigation when it's closed, not when it's open, to get to go there. So that was like a bucket list, what dreams are made of for me because of the location, the history, and everything else, and being kind of tied into the county and stuff when I used to live up there, and my haunting. Madison Dry Goods is a very interesting place. So strong, like connecting with psychic or intuitive, like in general, just the psychic radiation of that place and what it does to people is kindly insane. I was visited. I can't remember all the details. I started watching the video because we're actually investigating it for the second time tomorrow night. So tomorrow night,
What?
yeah. So that is, I just
Dope.
released it today, actually. That is our 5th and final location for Fright Night Fridays. And let me back up. What's Fright Night Fridays? I don't know when this is coming out, but during the month of October, from October 3rd, that's a Friday, all the way till October 31st, we're releasing 5 videos, and it's called Fright Night Fridays. So that's going to be like a thing every October, fingers crossed. But the theme this year is called The Return, meaning we return to the 5 most popular and or scariest places we've ever been. And it's only been like 13. So the first video to come out is the Arts Place in Danbury, North Carolina, which is really close, is in the same county where I had my haunting. The second one, the following Friday, is the courthouse. The third one is St. Albans Sanatorium in Radford, Virginia. The fourth one is the Trivet Clinic in Hamptonville. That's where we caught a full-fledged shadow figure. And like the last one, number 5, which I wasn't even sure until after I created the whole Fright Night Friday idea if I was even going to be able to get back into Madison Dry Goods. Manifested it. That was on my bucket list, and it's a lot to get in there. Yeah, we did it. We did it by the grace of
Dope.
Creator. Yeah, like it's done. So we only get 2 hours though. So we can come early and we can set up. But Madison Dry Goods has some really interesting things that happen there. And again, one of the entities that is there has the ability to psychically like visit you in your dreams. It can give you visions. Even my friend went with us when we went up to ask if we could go do it again since we had already done it. He saw a shadow figure. So we're really hoping tomorrow night's going to, be something else. We never really provoke like that. We might joke around with the ghost, and we've had some really good responses with just having fun and just being playful, and they'll play back. And you're like, oh, how do the ghosts play back? Well, I'm not huge into the apps, but I have tried like Necrophonic, and I have found some success with Necrophonic, but I prefer the radio and like fast sweeping. But I finally got this from Angel from Durham Paranormal. This is our portal box. I don't have anything plugged up to it right now, but basically this kind of tones this era radio that he redid and put all the goods in them. I don't even know what's in it. It's fancy, and it works very well.
Definitely fancy.
Yeah, it's my baby. It's my, and we've never, it took me a long time to be able to get to this point, but like it works so well. Like I cannot explain what Angel does, but his stuff works very well. He gets great communication. Like with the radio, you talked about TikTok. I know I'm getting off subject a little bit from my favorite location, but it kind of ties all in together, I guess. Um, on TikTok, one of the reels or whatever you call it, the TikTok I released with all the lingo here, it says, V's just asking a question. Are you excited for Jesus to come back? And he was just seeing what the spirits would say. And it followed by terrible question. We're not with Jesus.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. It's pinned on the Our Appalachian Nightmare TikTok page, and it's a members only video, but I'm going to go back in and release some more of it because it's got like 21K views now, and people are like, I claim no negative energy. You say one thing about Annabelle, I claim no negative energy, you know, like everybody's just so in a state of fear. And that's, I think, what they want is for people to be in fear, because when you're in fear, you cannot move forward, you cannot see spirit, and spirit is everywhere. Anyways, not getting back into that talk, but yeah, so a special place to me is Madison Dry Goods, so we're getting to investigate there tomorrow.
That is freaking awesome. I'm
Thanks.
glad that you get to do it a second time. That's dope as fuck, man. I've been thinking about doing, and because so I want to do, I want to create a documentary on my hometown. I want to start doing little little documentaries on small towns and stuff like that, and the spooky things that happen inside them. But as I was like as I'm trying to do that, like I want to do just regular ghost investigations around town. So there's a cemetery, a graveyard, just like a couple blocks from me that when I was a kid, me, my high school girlfriend, and one of my good friends went in there in the middle of the night and we experienced some stuff. And I want to do an investigation in there. And the only problem is that it's probably going to be by myself. And I don't know if I want to go by myself. Yeah. So, because my cousin said that he would do investigations with me, but he works for the government, and he was shipped to live in Connecticut to work for the next couple months. So, but he told me about a place that we could investigate in Connecticut that he thinks would be really interesting, and he sent me some videos on it. But I'm trying to talk my son into do investigations with me because I think it would be it would be a lot of fun. My daughter, I don't know. I don't want to bring my daughter into it because, actually, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I don't know why I don't want to bring my daughter into it, but for some reason I didn't think that was her cup of tea. But she's
it's
never
your baby
expressed
girl.
it.
It's your baby girl. You want to keep her out all that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm afraid to have her into it. You know what I mean? Like, because I wasn't 100% sure why I didn't want her into it. I just know that I didn't. But I think that might be what it is, that I'm afraid that something would happen to her. But yeah, so I've been thinking about doing that. So that's cool that, you know, that you get to go to places that you want to go to.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it's
and now
with a group of people. We found, and that's what you got to do. You got to find. There probably are people in your area that would let you go with them to these bigger places, or even like surrounding area where y'all all split the cost and go and just do it. You just got to jump into it, you know. If you're wanting to do like just regular investigation, but
yeah, that's true. You're true. You're not wrong. You ain't freaking wrong, dude. But I will say, and it's not because of the light in my studio, but every time that I've met with you, I always see purple around you, like a purple color.
That's interesting. Purple. That's that's the psychic color. So like the purple color is associated with your third eye chakra. So in your chakra systems, that's the purple. So the enlightenment psychic abilities, intuition, higher vibration, and then white is associated with the crown chakra. So that's probably why. And my hair, I don't dye my hair. This is kind of weird off subject, but it could be a little bit to do with my hair because like in certain lights, it'll look either burgundy purple or even like
Oh,
red. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't know where it come from, but yeah, that's interesting. It doesn't surprise me though. Thank you for telling me.
yeah. I've always been afraid to tell people that I can I associate a color with them, but it's happened a few times. And this one time, I was on mushrooms. It was actually this past December. It was during Christmas time, and I took a bunch of mushrooms. It was supposed to be microdosing, but I took a little bit too much. And then we went bowling, and I felt like everybody was staring at me, and everything kept closing in on me, and then backing off, and then closing in on me. And I was like, I should not. I was like, I really hope it's just the alcohol, because if the mushrooms are and themselves are doing this, this is crazy. And so the waiter came over to bring us to ask us if we wanted anything else, and all I could see around him was blue.
Wow.
And I had this like weird feeling that he knew what I was going through, and I needed to tell him. And so I told my girlfriend, I was like, he's blue, he knows what I'm going through. And she's like, what? I was like, I need to tell him what's happening to me, because we stopped bowling early, you know what I mean, because of how I was feeling. I was like, I have to tell him. And then he comes back, and I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
and he gives us the check, and I signed it, and then fucking he went off, and she's like, you didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, I know, I got scared.
on the back of the receipt, sir, you have a blue aura. Have a nice day. It happens sometimes. I mean, you know, I've partaked into the fungus among us. I do it in a spiritual sense. Haven't done it in a while for various reasons, but microdosing I think is great. And for certain people, even for like depression and stuff like that, it does do something to your brain. And in my 20s, if it wasn't for the banned tool and fungus, I probably wouldn't be the same person I am today. Probably wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for the banned tool and mushrooms. So, I mean, it's not something I did often, like a lot. I didn't even do it a lot. It was just the times that I did it, it's like building on to a spiritual experience. And like everybody else is, if you're freaking out, and I'm the one that's always like, but it depends. Yeah. And it depends on your situation. Like I know one time, a while back, it was like, I used to do it like once a year to like re-up like my body. I did it for like, again, spiritual purposes. And I was out in the backyard, and I was sitting there in my alm state, and all of a sudden it's like I stopped breathing, but I was like, I couldn't feel myself breathing. And the vision I had, as my eyes were closed, is that my consciousness rose up out of my body, and I was an orb, like above my head. My consciousness was here. I had no need to breathe,
Whoa.
but that freaked me out because I thought in like my body I wasn't breathing. And I started kind of panicking and shit. I started panicking, and I thought like I started to see the trees, and the trees were all the same except for the little saplings. It was like the big trees that were there, and I had literally transitioned, I felt, into the spirit. And I was like, oh God, this is freaking me out. The freakiest thing was I wasn't breathing. I'm like, I'm about to die. And that freaked me out so much. But like I come in and I'm like, maybe I can make myself sick to make it stop. That's the only reason I freaked out though. Because I'm like, I just fucking died, you know? And I come in and I'm like, with my finger down my throat, you know, trying to vomit. That ain't gonna do shit. But my arms and legs were still the fucking trees. They were my arms, my extremities. I was still in that space, and it was like my arms and legs were just like, imagine taking a picture of the woods in like bluish, like misty blue and dark grays and black tones for the trees, and it just like laid that imprint over your arms and your legs. And I was like, oh my God, I'm dead, you know. So, and it wasn't even a lot either. And it's just part of that spiritual experience. And, you know, the crazy thing is when I was in that form or whatever, in my mind or in this space that I was in, because I do believe we actually can travel that way through thoughts and intentions and stuff, because I am a remote viewer. It was like, how can I say this? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the trees, like each tree had a spirit, and I could see the spirit of that tree. And it's like I was told that the trees are just one collective consciousness. So when the big one falls, that life force just goes to another root through the mycelium in the ground. And like it's just so weird. But yeah, there was, oh, and the like I felt myself being an orb. I could feel myself, and I was myself and my thoughts, and I was everything, but I had no body. And it was like particles pushed all together through a weak magnetic field, and then like little spots of me just radiated out like orbs. That's what it felt like. So I'm like, yep, I'm dead. I died. I'm like, fuck, I'm trapped here too. I was like, oh, it's
That's a
over.
wild
But
experience.
yeah, it was. And it wasn't, I didn't do anything more than I normally had done in the previous times. But, you know, I would do it spiritually. I would fast. I would set up a spiritual space. I'd light candles, and I would even light up candles, everything, because, you know, it was a medicinal, I guess you could say, thing. And it really did help with like trauma and my spiritual journey, you know. And for people that may be saying, well, that's why she's a crazy bitch. Well, no, first of all, it opens up your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh, that's
Yeah.
why she sees spirits. Well, you can, no, it's not. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a bitch, but you know, it doesn't stay like there the whole time. It's not like taking a hit of something else, or you crack your back and you're like, whoa, it's melting, man. You know, so, because you know, when you open up about that kind of stuff as a medium, it's like, oh yeah, that's why she's crazy. That's why she talks to dead people. Now I'll conjure your great granny. You better calm down. I'm just kidding.
It's it's really interesting to when people, they believe in things as long as they can explain them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's really interesting. And the topic of auras, it's I remember the first time that I associated a color with somebody, and it was when I was a kid, and I had shaken their hand, and it was a woman, and she just looked yellow to me, and I was just like, I never like I couldn't see the color, like it just popped in my head. She's yellow. You know what I mean? If that makes any, I don't know if that makes sense. And
It does.
and I could be retarded. I could very much be retarded, but I remember as a kid, I think she was a teacher. I can't remember this experience for the life of me, but I know that it happened, and she was yellow, and I was just like, oh, she's yellow. I don't know why, but when I think about her, I think about the color yellow, and that was it. And she was always just like a super sweet person. She never did anything wrong, and I don't know what the significance of the color yellow is, but it's really interesting. So what I would say to people listening back home or wherever you're listening at,
Wherever the weird ones are.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. No.
Like if you ever have that feeling, like when you think about somebody and you think about a color associated with them without reason, I think that would be their aura. To me, that feels like it would be their aura. And I would implore you to kind of like investigate that. And maybe if you do, email me and let me know like what you come up with, because I think it's really fascinating that throughout my entire life that I've seen, or that I've thought of colors or of associated colors with certain people. And it was only really like with you and Emily. I think it was one of the times you guys were on where all of a sudden I was just getting flashes of color purple with you, just like I am right now. And I think I want to say that I got a color with Emily, but I couldn't think of it. but it's fascinating, and I think that we as humans, we can do a lot more things than what society has told us that we can do, which is why we have mediums. I think that is something that has been suppressed and has been made to look crazy.
And
So
demonized. We're
people,
demonized,
yeah,
and yeah.
yeah, so that people didn't try and connect with spirit or creator in that aspect. I do think that society has played a pivotal role in dumbing down spirituality,
Oh yeah.
um, with whether that's the the Christianity belief. I think, I don't know. It's like they want you to believe in God, but they want you to believe in God in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as you have a relationship with God yourself and you know Him, that's all that really matters. And you don't need to go to a building and put money in a plate in order to praise. So,
Yeah, and
um,
I'll say this, like it was times I prayed, like if I'm not meant to do this, if this is, going to send me to a fiery abyss or to the dark, because I've never necessarily seen like the fiery pits, but I have seen the darkness, and I have seen like hellscapes and
mm,
dreams. If this is going to send me there, then take it all away from me. Then just I don't want it. And I truly meant that. I said if this is, and it didn't go away. And it's interesting. I told you about how we've talked about perception, and now you're talking about colors. Well, that's the second thing Spirit ever said to me. Colors mean more than you know. So I would highly suggest to anybody listening, or even you, Kevin, understand what each color means. Pretty simple keywords. Figure out the colors. So when you start seeing these colors around people, 100% of the time, that color is going to give you their vibe, or or the vibe that they have or that they carry. And that's just one layer, because I bet you could see more colors if you even push. So like once you start seeing like purple, see if another color pops up, and take like the top 2 or 3 and identify the meanings of those colors, because it's going to tell you a lot about that person. And it's pretty simple to learn too. So you can do that with colors. And even like the fact that you're seeing those colors, that is clairvoyancy. That's the start of clairvoyancy. So one thing I do teach is how to perceive energy. And I do that based on like your astrological chart. I did it with you actually. I think, did we ever do
yeah,
that?
you did.
Okay,
Yeah, I
perfect.
did. I was on your guys' podcast, and you guys went over a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, and we might even have to do it again, because I have no recollection. I'll have to go look, because it's been a while now, but I think we did it, or we talked
It's
about
almost two
doing it.
years ago.
Yeah, it does. It has been a little while. So much has changed, but yeah, colors have just so much more meaning. We radiate colors. Um, and I'll share something I haven't shared publicly. It might be shared publicly by the time this comes out, whenever that is, but um, I lost a dear I'm not going to cry. I'm going to ground myself. I lost a dear friend um, recently, in the last like 3 weeks, like 2 days before I had to go to Pennhurst up in Pennsylvania and go stay with Emily. Actually, one day I lost my friend. Was actually a very, very, very close friend, like a best friend almost. And we had drifted apart a little bit over the last year due to certain reasons, but we still were friends. And he passed away, and I was heartbroken because I couldn't go see him, and it had been a while since I seen him. And that was at the wishes of the family. So that night at 2:30, and this is the deal with color. Color's going to come into this perspective. Um, that night at 2:30, I sent my last message at like 2:25 a.m. I was just run down that Thursday or whatever. My body just felt so terrible because I had cried on and off all day, and I was just like, oh, naturally. So at 2:30, I rolled over in the morning on a Friday morning, and I decided to go pay my friend a visit through remote viewing and do some energy work on him. Um, Basically, I walked into the room in a facility that I wasn't even sure he was at, but I knew what facility he was in. I was told he was in the same facility my grandmother was in when she passed away. And I walk in, and I'm good. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell it. I was going to admit something, but there was a shadow beside of his bed, and I see him in the bed, and I see a window, and the whole room's dark. I have worked with this family before. It's actually on the podcast. I've worked with this family before. They have an attachment based on witchcraft in the family, like heavy. We're talking about like heavy witchcraft, not even American witchcraft, just ancient stuff. And some things had been played around with within the family. And that dark shadow I have seen before with him as I've tried to help him along the way was standing beside of his bed. I was in such a mood where I do energy work, in the spirit or with my hands. I'm actually going to be doing Reiki sooner than later too. I basically blasted that thing out of the room because I wasn't playing. I walked in like 11 from Stranger Things and it shot out the window because I was just not playing. And then I walk up to him and I start giving him light on the bed. And now this is all theoretical in my head. Okay. And I start giving him light on the bed. And all of a sudden I can do a cause in the spirit. I don't, always have control over the effect of what it does. Now, I mean, just giving light's one thing, but like I ended up, instead of beside the bed, I ended up being like horizontal, like floating over top of him. And I wrapped my arms around him and cocooned him in a huge ball of light. And that was my way of like trying to give him my love and blessings in the light of God to cross over, because I wasn't going to be able to be there with him, because I had told him if the time ever came, because he was ill, if the time ever came, I'd want to be there with him to help him transition. But I wasn't allowed to do that, which is, I respect that. There's reasons, but and it's nothing bad. Just his family wanted the private. It's very private, So as I put him in that cocoon of light, I kind of drifted off. And mind you, this was about 2:30. This all happened in seconds. Okay, it takes longer for me to tell it than it actually happened. And then I wasn't asleep, so I just kind of went out for a few minutes, and I come back to check on that big cocoon of light. Oh, I left out while I was over top of him, and I had put him in that cocoon of light. In another perspective, somehow I saw hands beating on my back, dark fists just beating on my back. Like, no, you can't do this. Like, I don't know why. I'm not going to assume why, and I'm not going to put it out there and weigh out what I may think. People can come to their own conclusion, but it couldn't hurt me. Like, I'm like, you're not mine. You can't hurt me, because I was just radiating and channeling in so much love and light and compassion, and empathy, which is how you get to that point of radiating so much love and light for the listener, I mean, and it just didn't faze me. I just kind of, in a very respectful, nonchalant way, just kind of laughed it off like it's irrelevant, get out. And it did. So I went out of consciousness, and I come back into consciousness, a few minutes later, and I saw that light bubble that I had put around my friend. It was full of all the colors of the rainbow, and it wasn't just like a rainbow. It was spots, like red, blue, but it was like a rainbow, and they were all merging and mixing together inside of that light cocoon. I have never seen that in any of the healings I've done, or any type of energy work that I've done thus far. I've seen colors, but not like that. So imagine like an Easter egg shifting with rainbow colors, okay, around a person. Kind of, sort of. It was crazy. But like I'm sitting there and I see that, right? And like all of a sudden the light comes down. So this is probably about 2:35, 2:40-ish, 2:45 a.m. The light's coming down onto his bed with that cocoon wrapped around him. I see his spirit lift up out of his body, and he's speeding up like a bullet. Like, and next thing I know, after that happened, I'm over top of him looking down. He's looking up with me, and he has his hands in prayer, and he's going up quick. And I'm over top of him, and we're just going through like the clouds. It's daylight. We're just straight up. And hold on. He opened his hands, and there was a red heart between his hands, and then it blacked out. I fell asleep after that, probably around 2:50, 3 o'clock. 7 a.m. I woke up. My heart felt lighter. I felt so much better than I did the day before. So I already knew in my heart he was gone. I checked Messenger. His relative messaged me at 3 a.m. telling me so and so has transitioned into the afterlife. And I was like,
Wow.
I'm really holding back. I know if you're watching this on video, you're wondering why I've really coped with it. But I asked her specifically, what time did he pass? He passed at 2:42 a.m. I was with him. Nobody can take that from me.
Yep.
I saw that, and that's one of the most profound things I've had happen. I've had a lot of things happen. I've been with people at their bedsides passing, but nobody can take that from me. It added up perfectly, and it wasn't intended. So there's a lot of questions to unpack there, but the color thing, colors mean more than we know. So, moral of the story,
Absolutely.
they're healing. The light is color. The light is rainbow. Like when you work with healing, that's why we're part of Creator, because we are light,
Mm-hmm.
and we are color, and it's a different spectrum. It's a different understanding. So for those listening, I know that may sound kind of weird, but if you follow me, like, it's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
That means a lot to me. There's so many people wish they get to be with certain loved ones during that transition time. I have been there before too with two of my uncles now. And I know that when it comes to time for a few certain people, it's going to be a lot harder than those two instances. Although I was very close with both of those uncles, there's just people that it's not going to be, it's just going to be harder.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for your
but
loss. I apologize for that, because it's hard to go. Hard.
fair. It is. It really is. But I know that it's not the end, technically. Especially now. And I know that, I know that I know, but I frame it in the words of I think. Like, so I think that the whole purpose of us to live, the whole purpose of our existence is to give love and receive love. And I think that's all we're meant to be doing here. So what is all this paying bills and shit?
Yeah.
What is this?
Well, there's plenty of theories, but yeah, you're right. It's part of growth.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
It really is. It really is. And I don't think that we are meant to work every single day of our lives for not a lot of nothing. But banana bread at fucking work, dude, is the shit. I'm sorry, that's a joke, but
I like banana bread. Damn, I need a recipe, yo.
I love banana bread, actually, to be honest with you. But no, I mean, it's just stop. There's nobody worth caring about their opinion of you. If you want to do something, go do it. They're going to judge anyway, but at the end of the day, their judgment doesn't matter. There's only one judgment that matters, and that's at the end. So,
yeah.
Anywho, we are at an hour and a half. I'd love to talk to you again, because I definitely didn't mean to go on some of the tangents that we went on. I had a whole lot of other questions for you, but I still think this conversation was freaking amazing, dude. And I appreciate the hell out of you. And I think you're an amazing person.
Thank you. You too, man.
So we'll definitely have to do something. I want to get more into your investigations, and stuff like that. So we'll have to do a part 2 where we stay on that script.
That's fine. Things happen the way they're supposed to, and I think, even though you didn't hit what you wanted to, I think there's a lot of relevance to the topic. It's an important topic. And then the whole color thing and divine spirit, we can definitely get into that at a later date. Anytime that you're ready, if you want to come on an investigation with us, okay. There's one thing I do have to say before we do end this. So you can love me or you can hate me. I'm doing this, not just for specifically you, but the people listening. We did book the Warrens Museum. We're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people have their own personal thoughts. I'm wiping. I don't care about the history. I do. I think it's cool to be a part of something that's bigger, no matter what you believe or what actually factually happened. I'm going to see if the place is haunted. That's like, that's one thing we're doing. So I am coming to Connecticut in November. That's as far north as I've made it.
Nice.
I've only made it to Connecticut. So we'll be up there a couple of days probably prior to, but we are going to investigate the Warrens Museum, not to perpetuate anything except I want to see if it's haunted. I've met Annabelle already. I have an Annabelle story, or a story about going up there and meeting the objects. And I know for a fact that objects hold so much intention and residual energy, just like the thought form thing, that if it wasn't haunted before, it's probably haunted
Mm-hmm.
now because there's so many people that are like fearing it and stuff. So evil always finds a home. But anyways, yeah, I'd love to do something with you. Just let us know. We don't really have too many plans for 2026 yet. So we'll have to plan something out. Or if you come back down towards here, we're going to take you around here in Appalachia now. We're going to get her done.
I like the sounds of that.
Hell yeah.
Well, if you guys need an extra person, I would definitely be down to go to the Warrens with you. But
Yeah.
obviously that depends on how many people are allowed and whatnot.
It's 8 and we're booked, but if anybody backs out, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, regardless, when you do come up, we should do something depending on how long you're going to be up this way, because Connecticut is only like 2 to 3 hours away from me.
Yeah,
So,
it's like 10. It's a 10-hour drive for us, but yeah, it's gonna be a big one. So yeah, we'll make it happen. I'll keep you updated, and just let me know. I appreciate you having me on, and yep. If y'all are just watching Kevin for the first time, he's super fucking awesome. Hit the subscribe button. Yo.
yeah, yo. Yeah, yo.
What did we used to
all
say
right.
when we were kids? I can't even remember now. Cool beans. It's awesome.
Cool bean. There's so many words. There's so many words from when we were kids that we used. Yeah. I can't even. You could probably do a whole episode on all of those words.
Yep.
It was really
dope.
fun time. It is dope.
It's dope.
I still use a lot of these words, lady.
Same.
I still use them. So, Chasity, if you don't mind letting the good people know where they can find you and find your stuff in case they want to connect with you and whatnot.
Sure. I can give Kevin the link to Linktree. I have Our Appalachian Nightmare on YouTube. If you just type in Our Appalachian Nightmare on YouTube, it should pop up. Shortly, we have the little Mothman symbol, the Luminary Luna Beams. That's on YouTube. I do offer psychic services there as well. You can find me on pretty much all the main socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then Lights at Midnight, Psychic Paranormal Podcast is coming back in November. So busy girl. I'm coming out with a journal very soon. I've been working on it. When my mom passed, I had to put it off for a while, and I haven't been able to get it done. She passed like a year ago, so I've got to get back on the grind with my classes and my journal, but that's coming hopefully by the first of the year. So I've got a lot of cool things coming. Please subscribe, especially to Our Appalachian Nightmare, because we're really trying to build a foundation there to continue to go to some of the coolest places in America and meet cool people and uncover what's really there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Nice. Also, I would just before we stop here, I just want to say the fact that you want to go to the Warrens, I don't think is a bad thing. Yes, the Warrens weren't great people, especially Ed and all that, but their contribution to the paranormal realm was very significant. Although a lot of things they did have been exaggerated, I still think it's an important part of the paranormal, like spirituality, history, and I think it's worth checking out. So I don't think you're wrong for wanting to at all.
I appreciate you saying that, because we're going to get man, people are going crazy about it, and I get it's a lot of money, but this is the only time, like, we booked it, but we're splitting it amongst people. This is the only time in 10 years I would have ever had the available funds set aside, and it ain't gonna last forever. This is the only time I've had it in 10 years, so it was fated. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't have money sitting around like this, and this was the one time that we could do it, so we flipped it coin, dude. I was 5 minutes before the tickets went on sale or the spots went on sale. V's like, let's flip a coin. Because I was kind of like, you know, because that's an investment, $250 a person. And I'm like, fuck it, let's flip a coin. So, you know, he flips it and it lands somewhere where he can't see it. And he goes and he looks. He said, pack your bags, bitch. We're going to Connecticut. So that's what happened. But yeah, so we'll get to use, I don't know if this will come back haunted. But yeah, my little music box of Annabelle and all that stuff. And you can see some of these cool things that experiments we try. Again, our Appalachian Nightmare. And thank you for your time, Kevin. It's been a pleasure as always. I'd love to come back. And thank you for all the nice, kind words again, because it helps me know that I'm doing something, you know, good, and I need to keep going. So yeah, it's been rough, but we're getting there.
You're welcome, and I appreciate you giving me and the listeners, you know, an hour and a half of your time, because you know, Kirk, time is our greatest currency, and the fact that you chose to do this with me means absolute world to me, and I love you very much. So
we love you too, man.
With that, for the listeners, if you don't mind, following, sharing, leave a rating and review. If your catcher doesn't allow you to leave a rating or a review, please consider doing so on the website, where the Weird Ones Are podcast.com. That is also where you can get some merch, like the t-shirt you see behind me. I have a ton of other designs. And you can get some hot sauce, some coffee, and some supplements. Also, I do have a couple of short stories up there, and I do have a new one coming out fairly soon. So, other than that, you guys absolutely should know the drill by now. Question everything and stay weird.
In the quiet of the night, when the world feels far, there's a voice through the static, like a falling star. It calls the misfits, the dreamers, the ones who see the shadows in the corners, the truth we barely believe. From the pine tree woods to the desert skies, they talk of ghosts and aliens with wonder in their eyes, not afraid to ask the questions that others won't dare, 'cause the world gets strange when you stop and stare. Come gather around where the weird ones are, by the fireside glow or a midnight car, where the stories run deep and the secrets fly like owls in the dark or stars in the sky. If you've ever felt lost, like you don't belong, you found your place, you found your song, right here where the weird ones are. They'll talk of cryptids, time slips, and deja vu, of spirits that linger, and what might be true. But more than the monsters, it's the people you'll find who dare to be open with curious minds. It's not about fear, it's the thrill of the ride, to question the world with wonder as guide. So pull up a chair, let your freak flag fly. We're the seekers of truth beneath the sky. Yeah, come gather around where the weird ones are, on the moonlit thoughts and cosmic scars, where the veil feels thin and the questions burn, and we chase the strange at every turn. You're not alone, not in the dark. You're with a tribe. You found the spark right here where the weird ones are. For the ones who wonder, for the ones who know, welcome home.